Growing up, oats was never my preferred breakfast. I always used to eat either cornflakes, something traditional Indian like upma or poha, which used to be very tasty, sometimes a little spicy, and definitely was not disgusting. On the other hand, even though oats are supposed to be good for me they never were tasty. For me, they always used to be very bland, boring, and disgusting, almost like eating glue. But since now I am a big boy and I can make something healthy and tasty out of oats, well, I might as well, right? This recipe is exactly that. If you don't like oats, you might want to try this. We'll start by rendering some bacon fat. You need 2 maybe 3 slices of bacon cut into small pieces. Put your pot on a low flame and slowly render the fat. This is the same fat we will be using for cooking our other vegetables. Make sure that you don't use high flame or else you will burn the bacon. Of course, if you want to make this a completely vegetarian dish, you don't have to add bacon in it. Just use sesame oil instead. Make sure that you keep on stirring the bacon while it's rendering its fat. We do want to brown it and make it crispy, but we don't want it to turn black and bitter due to burning. As you can see, the bacon is golden brown and crispy, as well as a lot of its fat has been rendered out. We can now slowly add our vegetables in it. The first thing we'll add is our onions. Let these onions get translucent before we add the next ingredient. Make sure while stirring the onions in, you use the moisture that has been released by the onions to remove the fond that has been stuck in the bottom of your pot. This will, of course, help the flavor of the bacon and onions to mingle, as well as help the onions to get a little more color and also to caramelize better. Now that your onions are translucent and the bottom of your pan or pot is clean, you can add the ingredient that takes the most amount of time to cook. For me, it was mushrooms. Now, I love mushrooms, that's the reason why I am adding them. If you don't have them or if you don't like them, you don't have to add them. But mushrooms do add a lot of body to this dish, so I would recommend that you add it. Now, before you add anything else, make sure that you remove as much of the moisture from the mushrooms as you can. Now, all of the ingredients that I am going to be adding in this recipe are roughly chopped. You don't have to be fancy, you don't have to be precise. It's a breakfast dish. Nobody is in the mood to, you know, sit down and chop everything precisely in the exact same measurements in the morning, especially when you don't have a lot of time. So just use your own judgment on how big or small you want to cut your vegetables. Now that the mushrooms are nice and golden brown, you can add the next ingredient that would take the most amount of time. For me, it was carrots. Now, to save some time, you can of course blanch them beforehand for about a minute or two. This will, of course, help reduce the cooking time within the dish. So, if you are busy and have very little time in preparing this dish, you can, of course, do that. But for me, I really wanted to caramelize these carrots. So, I took my time and cooked them all the way through from start to finish within the dish. When your carrots are halfway done, you can then add your finely chopped ginger and garlic. The reason why I didn't add them before was because by the time the mushrooms and carrots would be cooked, the ginger and garlic would be overcooked. This might turn them bitter, and we don't want that to happen. Next are peppers. You can use any color that you like, red, yellow, or green. The only thing with green bell peppers are that they need to be cooked for a good amount of time, or else they will taste bitter. With red and yellow, they are already sweet, so you don't really have to cook them for a long time. But then again, it's your preference. So if you like green bell peppers, use them. Once your peppers are done cooking, you can now add some water. About 3 to 4 cups would be enough. While adding it, make sure that you scrape out anything that has been stuck in the bottom, especially in the corners. Now we are using water because I am going to be adding a small bouillon cube, chicken bouillon cube. You can of course use veg if you are making a vegetarian dish. Now you can use chicken stock, but I am 100% sure most families don't just keep chicken stock lying around in their fridge. Also, nobody wakes up in the morning expecting to have chicken stock just ready to be used, especially for a breakfast dish. So, just use a bouillon cube, it's a very convenient option. Also, you might have noticed one thing, I haven't used salt while preparing the vegetables except while making the mushrooms. Reason why I did that was because of the bouillon cube. It has plenty of salt in it. Now, you can always add salt, but you cannot remove it. So, at this point, after adding the bouillon cube, you can always taste it and see if the salt is for your liking. If you think it needs more, just add more. When the bouillon cube is dissolved, you can now add about a cup and a half or 2 cups of oatmeal. Now, oatmeal does, of course, absorbs a lot of water and expands, so you don't really have to add a lot to get a lot out of it. But of course, it depends on how much you are making. It also depends on the consistency that you like. So, if you want a drier, more thicker consistency for your porridge, you can, of course, add a little more oatmeal and reduce a little water. If you like a more soupy kind of a porridge, you can, of course, add a little more water and a little less oatmeal. Also, make sure that you keep on stirring the oatmeal while you are cooking it. This way, the oatmeal will get a good amount of time as well as a chance for absorbing as much liquid as possible equally. You won't get undercooked dry spots. This next ingredient is really the most important ingredient other than the oatmeal in this recipe, and unfortunately, there is no substitute for it. This is gochujang, Korean red chili paste. Now, you can get this online, but if you really don't have it and if you really can't get it, the closest substitute for this would be tobanjang, which is spicy bean paste. Unfortunately, other than that, there really is no local substitute that you can replace it with. So, if you can get your hands on it, you really should, because this ingredient is absolutely incredible. Now, once you add it, make sure that you mix it well and cook it for about 3 to 4 minutes so that it incorporates with the other ingredients well. The next ingredient that is unfortunately also irreplaceable is Gochugaru, which is Korean chili powder. Now you can use your regular chili powder that you get in the market. Unfortunately, Gochugaru is a little different. It's a little fruity in flavor as well as a little spicy. So, if you can get your hands on it, please do. Now I have added some sugar, about a teaspoon of it, and to be honest with you, I think I added a little too much. It is optional though. You don't have to add it if you don't want to, because gochujang is a little sweet on its own. Then again, if you like the flavor of a little savory, a little sweet, a little spicy, you can of course add it if you like. Lastly, we will be adding some green peas. Now I have blanched them for about 30-35 minutes in boiling water and then plunge them in ice cold water. Now this will not just help the cooking process within the porridge, but also it will help preserve the vibrant green color of the peas. Because in the porridge it's only going to be cooking for like 15 seconds. If I start cooking it from start to finish, the color would go pale green, which I really didn't want it. I really wanted a nice vibrant green to be preserved from the peas. Now, if you are going to be blanching your green peas, make sure that you salt the water, and as soon as the water comes to a boil, take them out, put them in ice cold water. And that's about it for the recipe. You can add some scallions at the end, but they are optional. Now that's about it for the recipe. While serving it, of course, you can top it with some egg. I personally love sunny side up, but you can use poached egg or boiled egg. Garnish it with some scallions or don't, it's on you. And this is how you make spicy Korean style porridge. If you like this recipe, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Share your thoughts in the comment section. And if you want the detailed recipe, please check the description below. Thank you for watching.